This year, I've been working on a secret video, one where I let the calendar choose my books. 1 month, one book. The only rule is the month had to be in the title. So in January, I had to read a book with January in the title. So, shall we just dive into how a full year of month theme reading went? Some of these books were surprising, some of these books were pretty chaotic, some were awful, some were great. Shall we just dive in to my journey this year reading month books, and let's talk about which books were worth the time. Hello. It's January. Guys, this is crazy thinking about how, like, it's the end of the year for you. And you know, what's happened in my life? Well, hi Megan. Hi Megan in the future. How's life going? Probably this backdrop has not been seen for quite a while, hopefully. Hopefully we moved out March time, end of March.
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
How are we all doing? It is the 28th of January, it's my birthday today. It's time to read a book with January in the title. And for a lot of these months, we're probably gonna go do some research, right? See what we can find on the internet with like month in the title. However, January we do not need to, because we have a book on my TBR. In fact, this is really one of the main reasons I want to do this vlog, is to read this book in it. And it is The 10,000 Doors of January by Alex E. Harrow. I'm very excited. This is like a 5-star prediction fantasy for me. I'm so intrigued by this kind of like magical, fantastical world. I love Alex E. Harrow's writing, especially The Once and Future Witches is one of my favourite books of all time. I need to reread it though and see like how it stacks up, but it's very good. And yeah, we're obviously going to be reading The 10,000 Doors of January. I'm not sure if I have any other book on my physical TBR. There's other books that I know of with months in the title that I would be interested in reading, but I don't know if there's any others on my TBR. So this is the only one that we're going to be ticking off of that, but I am so excited to read this, really excited. Oh my god, it's got footnotes. I forgot it had footnotes. Holy shit. Okay, so I'm probably going to start this today on my birthday. I'm not really planning on doing much the rest of the day, other than watching Real Housewives, playing Sims, and reading some of this. I will check in with you on probably halfway through this one. Some of these books we're just going to read and get it over and done with in this vlog. But this one I'll check in with you halfway through. It's got deckled edges. I just have good vibes about this. I feel like it could easily be a 5-star. Like, I would not be shocked in the slightest if it was a 5-star. So I'll see you soon with my thoughts. But yeah, just for now, know that I am very, very excited.
Soft light falls on quiet sand. You almost leaned in. Shadows move, skin to skin. Something unspoken.
Before we get into the reading though, I want to give a quick shout out to the thing that helped me throughout the entire year get all this reading done, that I used reading pretty much every book in this video. My Serious Light by Serious Readers, who are very kindly sponsoring this video. Listen, I used to get eye strain all the time. Back when I used to read in dimly lit rooms, which, let's be honest, we want to read in cozy environments. We want to feel cozy, we want the lamps on, the fairy lights on, the candles going. But if you're reading in a dark environment, that's not good for these bad boys. So Serious Light helps keep that cozy environment, but lights your page so well. The way this lights what you're reading feels so natural in the eyes. It has a daylight wavelength technology that replicates the daylight spectrum as closely as possible, and that means that our eyes know what's up with this light. Like, it feels so natural. It feels like the sun. You're outdoors, but you're in this cozy environment. The sun is lighting this book. I love it so much. I've used mine for years now, and it is like a staple of my reading. I do not read without it. Honestly, the way I can describe it is your eyes feel like relief when using it. They're not working as hard. And when you're reading, you don't want to be working hard. You just want to be relaxing. And so I cannot recommend my Serious Light enough. I adore it. I use it every single day. And I have a code. Listen, you need to get this before the year is up. This is a truly outstanding code. Code MEG will get you £150 off a HD Pro or HD Essential light. That is an incredible deal. £150. £150. What? £150 off. That is such an amazing deal. Also, these lights have 5-year warranty, and the HD Pro currently has a 90-day risk-free trial. So you can give it a go, but I promise you, you will not want to part ways with it. I love mine so, so much. So go check out the link down below. Serious Lights are where it's at. If you're a reader, if you're reading a lot, if you want to level up your reading, because I read more when I use this. I enjoy reading so much more. Go check out the link down below. Hello, friends. Okay, here's the thing. I am halfway through the 10,000 Doors of January. Let me tell you the plot, and then I'll tell you what I'm thinking of it. So basically, we're following January, who lives in this sprawling house with this guy called is this called Mr. Locke? That's kind of a funny name, actually, now you think of it. Now you're connecting the dots. I'm thinking things.
I've connected the two dots.
You didn't connect shit, but
I've connected them.
Her father works for him, but her father's often absent, traveling the world, and she lives in his house, and she, throughout her childhood, has these brief run-ins with maybe doors to these portal worlds, and we're following her kind of through her teenagehood. I don't want to say too much, but it's January and doors, portal doors worlds. And so we're following January, but then we're also reading from a book about doors that she has found. And I'd say at some points, it's kind of 50-50 between those. You're gonna see the problem here, okay? My problem is, it's split timeline, and it's not working for me in that regard. Okay, here's the thing. You guys are like a year in the future, right? I mean, I may look different. My life may be different. Who knows what's happening in a year? But
that's not happening.
But what's happening right now is I've been really struggling with reading in January. I've only read 5 books in January. I'm actually going to probably finish this in February, which I know is a bit of a sin for the terms and conditions of this video, but I started it and read like half of it in January. Yeah, I've really been struggling with reading in January. And so I just don't think encountering like a split timeline is for me right now. I don't think this is what I needed to run into. I'm also struggling with fantasy. I'm struggling with like fantastical worlds and that like added level of like imagination, if that makes sense. However, I am really enjoying the writing. I'm enjoying both of the aspects, right? But it's just like, I'm halfway through a book and I feel like barely anything has happened in January's timeline. This is always my biggest issue with split timelines. It's like, they're each 150 pages of each of them, versus like a 300-page narrative of a story. Like, you have so much less time for things to happen. Yeah, I feel like barely anything's happened with January, and that's why I'm not liking it as much as I would hope to. However, I'm still loving Alexi Harrow's writing. This is her debut, and I do feel like by The Once and Future Witches, that's a bit more accomplished, is a bit more aware of what it's trying to do. I feel like this is sometimes a little bit lost. However, I'm also enjoying the book within a book aspects. It's got footnotes, but is it like grabbing me? No, it's not. It hasn't grabbed me. It hasn't grabbed me. In fact, I'm just kind of like, oh, you know, getting through it, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna try and finish this today. I will let you know my thoughts when I have done so, but there was just a twist, literally on like the last page that I read, there was a twist that's made me a lot more interested in bringing these two things together, because I was kind of viewing them as two very, very separate, unrelated parts, but it's brought them together, and so I'm like, huh, okay, interesting. It's made it a lot more engaging for me. But yeah, I've really been having to force myself through it. I'm finding reading so hard at the moment, guys. Hopefully the rest of the year is not like this. I'm also not sure about the fantastical elements of this, if I'm like fully... Here's the thing, there's a lot of doors. The 10,000 Doors of January suggest things. And so there's maybe a lot of worlds. And I'm just, because we're in a lot of them briefly, I'm not picturing everything clearly. They're not like distinctive. I think the worlds need to be more distinctive from each other. I think often I'm kind of imagining them as the same thing. I don't know, guys. But I mean, this was supposed to be like the superstar of this video because it's like the only one on my TBR that I've been really, really excited to read. So if this isn't a huge success, it's not exactly setting us off for like great promise, is it? So anyways, I'll check with you unfinished, but yeah, not sure what I'm thinking. Hello friends, Dita's right here. Oh my god, talking about what I look like, what do I look like at the end of the year? What's my life like? What does she look like at the end of the year? Dita, come here. I bet you're so big by the end of the year, huh? Whenever she sees you, she's always got her small eyes on because there's usually like a light on when I'm filming, but she always has big eyes. Let me just tell you that. I have finished 10,000 Doors of January. I'm giving this 3 stars. I'm a little bit disappointed by this. I was really expecting like amazing things. This has been a book that I've been wanting to read for like years and years and years. And honestly, I'm actually so glad that I read The Once and Future Witches before I read this, because I don't know if I would have continued with Alex E. Harrow's stuff had I read this first, or I wouldn't have felt super incentivized to, but I now know, having read The Once and Future Witches, like that's in my top 25 books, 50 books, whatever, you know, of all time. It's one of my favourite books of all time. I loved it. I think if I did this first, I don't know if I would have even gone into that with the right expectations, or I'm just really glad that I read it, you know, around the way that I did. I really think the main problem with this is I was just a bit bored. I don't feel like there's a lot propelling you on to read, right? I don't think there's not really I don't feel like a strong incentive that's driving the story forward. I mean, there is. I don't want to spoil anything, but is it in the plot? Not really. There is something, but I don't feel like I was invested enough in a character that kind of centers around to really care that much. I didn't feel like there was like a reason, like a really core reason driving everything forward, and I think that just makes it a bit boring. I also think that there is a lot of glimmers in this of what I loved about The Once and Future Witches. There's sentences in this that take your breath away. There's like little paragraphs, little sentences that is so lovely and so beautiful and so perfect and so like, it's got so much beauty to the writing. Like, oh God, I could write, you know, sentences you want to write down and record. Also, both of the parts are kind of being written to someone, both the book and January's narrative, and they're very occasional references to like you know why I'm writing this to you or whatever, and I really enjoy that. I really enjoy the moments where the narrator kind of comes out the story. I've always enjoyed this, like a kind of omniscient narrator. There's a lot of glimmers of what I've gone on to enjoy about Alex E. Harrow's stuff. I just don't know if it all comes together in this book. You know, there's elements of the plot that are good, elements of the characters that are really good, elements of the writing that's lovely, but I don't know if it all comes together in a book that I really enjoyed, you know? I mean, also, again, the caveat, I'm in Slump City. I'm in Slump Nation. Slump Nation is me, population of 1. Like, I am like the mayor and the president of Slump Nation. Like,
the most hideous experience for me to go through. How horrible and shit.
It's so bad out here for me right now. So there is that caveat, right? That like I'm seemingly not enjoying books as much right now, and I think there's a me problem, and I'm not really understanding why, and hopefully I'm gonna crush it soon. So hopefully I will see you soon in February. Well, it is actually now February. I did finish this in February, but I started it in January, okay? I'm just struggling with reading. I will see you later in February to find our February book, and I cannot think of any at the top of my head, so we're going to have to hunt down one, like I assume we're going to have to do for quite a lot of the books in this video. This is the only one that I knew for certain that I was going to read, so we shall see. But yeah, I'll see you in a couple weeks with our February book, but glad I've now read this because I've wanted to read this for so long, but kind of sad that it wasn't a huge win for me. Hello friends, how are we doing? It's February, still living here. Will I be in Marches?
Stop while you're ahead.
It's time to find a book with February in the title. I feel like February is going to be one of the hardest ones. It's the shortest month. I just feel like not a lot happens in February other than Valentine's Day. I think it's going to be hard. But the aim of the game is to find a book that I'm interested in and can get my hands on, whether that's the ebook or whatever. Right, let's quickly go to Goodreads and just check I don't have anything with February in the title, because I could have forgot it. No, I don't. Right, this is already giving us some suggestions. These calendar girl ones, I think there's one for every month. I'm not interested, really. Murder by Month rom-com mystery, February fever. All aboard, it's murder on the Valentine train. Stop it. You know what? I could get down with that. It is number 10. So, like, we would be dropping right in near the end of the series. But I don't know if that really matters with a series like this, or if they're kind of standalone companion books. It's got a 4 average rating, which is not bad. Let's look on a story graph list, because I always like these. This is a mystery. February's Regrets. I don't like the look of that cover. This list is pretty dire, isn't it? It's pretty dire. Oh God. February in the title here. Have we got anything better? These books all look old and boring. The 31st of February, Miss February, Summer in February. It's a disturbing and moving recreation of a celebrated Edwardian artistic community during the last days of a golden age, soon to be shuttered by war. No, that doesn't interest me, but there is like a movie, it seems. That is maybe one of the more well-known books with February in the title. I am drawn to February Fever, but like, it is number 10 in the Murder by Month rom-com mystery series. It's like the last book as well. No, there's 13. But should I really, should I not dive in May? I don't know. I am drawn to February Fever. What can I say? I like the pink cover as well. And I feel like this series isn't one that you need to read in order. Let me do some research and you'll see what I'm going to read next. But I feel like if I don't have to read these in order, this may be it. Oh god. Okay, February motherfucking fever, baby. February fever. By the way, I thought I was going to be moved out of my house in March. My home, my family home, into my flat. Just found out that we're not doing that. And the earliest we'll be there is May. But we have to decide whether we want to do that. Yeah. It's very sad. You know what's happened. Am I even out of here yet? Am I even out of this building? Anyways, February Fever, that's what we need to talk about. I read this, and I'm giving it 2 stars. But here's the thing, I didn't hate it, I just don't think it's very good. Okay, so what this is that it's a month-by-month murder mystery, so there's like one for each month in the series. This is quite far into the series, actually, and like, the thing is, it does a good job of like telling you the vibe and what's been happening in the first couple chapters of this. Like, you can definitely read this series without having read the previous ones. So we meet this woman who, like, death has followed her to this small town. There's been murders happening. There's also like a romance, which I get the sense is quite a strong part of the other books, but he wasn't really in this book because of the plot, which we'll get onto. It reminds me a lot of what's that one I read for the Goodreads winners of mystery thriller, like all the winners ever, Smoking 17. Like, there's this whole series. This reminds me of that. It's a similar vibe to that, if you know this series. A bit similar to like Finley Donovan, where it's like a mystery romance, right? It's like with this funny, like a bit like a bumbling, like jokey, self-aware character. Like, they're all very similar. And in this one, her boyfriend has to move away for work, and her elderly colleague at the library says, okay, we're gonna go visit him on this train, this Valentine's overnight sleeper train, and then murders ensue on the train. And like, there's nothing particularly egregious about this. There's nothing particularly like bad, but it's just not particularly good either. Like, I was just reading it and I was like, okay, like, I'm really bored. Like, it's fine. It's very much like a Murder on the Orient Express homage. I love a train setting for a murder mystery. I think because I love Murder on the Orient Express, I love callbacks to that. So I enjoyed that aspect of it. But like, just one of those books, these, I don't know, they're just, it's just one of those books. If you know the vibe, if you get the vibe, it's just not particularly well written. It's just quick. I feel like this was written very quickly. For a while there, I was like, is she publishing one of these a month? But no, she's publishing one a year. Every corresponding to the month. I would not be surprised if she churned out 12 of these in a year. Do you know what I mean? It reminds me of Frida in that sense, where it's just like, it feels like you've just churned this shit out. There is no like layers to the plot. It's just like a straight line. It's just like event. Whereas I like my plot to be a tree. I like branches off of little things. Whereas this is, I hate a straight line plot. I hate a straight line plot. I hate it. Normal plots have like little other elements coming off of them, whereas this is like, boom. The writing isn't great, the characters aren't good, but like, it's not, I didn't hate it. I think it met expectations. I knew that it wasn't gonna be great, and I just allowed myself to do that for February, because I feel like February is gonna be one of the hardest months. Like, I feel like there's a lot of other books with other months, but no one wants to write about February. February's just a bit depressing, isn't it? It's just, I think February's the worst month. January would be the worst month when my birthday's in it, so otherwise February is the worst month. So yes, there we go, 2 stars. It's not great, but I have hope that we will have books better than this in this video. Hello friends. So it turns out that my footage where I was finding what March books read corrupted, but I caught it early. So at least we can film this now before I've started the book, and I can talk you through my thinking process. So when I was searching on Goodreads, on Storygraph, and all the lists for like books with March in the title, the big one that came up was Middlemarch.
No one's reading that book.
Here's the thing, I don't know if I'm ready to read that. I have always wanted to read Middlemarch, particularly I love the penguin cloth-bound edition. It's like this pale pink. I really, really love it. And I have always been interested in reading it. Obviously it's like a big classic. There was once upon a time I thought I was going to be in like a classics era girly. I could not be more wrong. I just don't think that's for me right now. I made the exact decision, like, it's just not for me. It's like 900 pages. I don't have time to read it. I was going on holiday in March. I'm just back from holiday. It's just not, it's not happening. It's not happening. So I kept having a look, and like the other big book that I kept seeing on lists that had a lot of ratings, it seemed to be quite a popular book. I'd never heard of it. This author's name rings a bell, but I've never read anything by this author. It is March by Geraldine Brooks. I think she's a fairly well-known author. This won the 2006 Pulitzer Prize, which is that's quite crazy. I'm reading a Pulitzer Prize winning book. And this is a Little Women retelling. Hence the March sisters.
Women.
But we are following the dad. We're following the dad as he leaves his beloved wife and daughters to fight for the Northern forces, but he also re-encounters a slave called Grace, who he had met 20 years earlier. The Little Women retelling element interested me in this. I feel like that's an interesting perspective to read from. And, you know, war books, slavery books, historical books around slavery, especially by white women, often make me feel a little bit nervous. But we'll see how it's done. We'll see how it goes. This was like the other big book that had March in the title, so I thought I'd go for this. You know, Pulitzer Prize winner, Little Women retelling. Like, it has a lot of little buzzy elements to it, so I thought we'd go this one. I am just going to start it now. I have got reading sprints my patrons in a sec, so I'm gonna get going on it today and hopefully read as much of it today as I can. This is very different than what I would usually read. It's like a little bit more highbrow, I feel like. Pulitzer Prize, you know what I mean? So we'll see how it goes. A little bit nervous, but yes, that is the March book that we're gonna be reading. Hello friends, it's spring and the weather is making me so happy. You don't even understand. Like, it's so light at this time. Oh my god, I'm coming alive again. I'm like emerging from the ice. I'm so happy. Anyways, I am halfway through March by Geraldine Brooks. This is an interesting book. Firstly, one of my patrons pointed out, it's crazy I'm reading this before I read Little Women. I'm reading a Little Women retelling before I read Little Women. Let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about that. So this is, I think I told you, basically a retelling of Little Women, but we're following the dad when he's away at war, but also him retelling aspects of his life before he even met the mother of the March sisters, or then talking about their life. But it's his reflections on being a chaplain in the Civil War and his opinions on slavery. He's a very staunch abolitionist, and you know, him and his wife of like, I don't remember this being a huge part of like the movie Little Women, maybe it is of the book, but like they do a lot of work to try and, like, you know, the Underground Railroad, try and help ex-slave people fleeing from slavery, etc, etc. I will say, first of all, there is that element of like, it's following racist characters, and there's characters in this who do say the N-word, who are racist, and I believe Geraldine Brooks is a white woman. And so I think that's just like something I'd like to make you aware of, so you guys can, you know, decide how you feel about that. But on the whole, in terms of writing and in terms of the storytelling, I am enjoying it. I am enjoying it. I'm not like in love with it, but it's like a well-written book. I can tell that Geraldine Brooks is like a writer. You know, this won the Pulitzer Prize. I can tell this is like good, really good, what like the literary world sees as great writing. You know what I mean? They love it. They love it. Like, it reminds me of someone like Margaret Atwood. It's a lot about a slave called Grace who he met 20 years ago, and I believe that's probably going to play a bigger role in the second half. There's been a lot of like flashbacks in the first half, whereas I feel like maybe we'll be more in the present day in the second half. I'm enjoying it. One of my patrons, I did reading sprints last night, one of my patrons, Michelle, was actually reading this as well, and was like 50% of the way in, and then started crying, kept messaging saying, oh my god, I just cried, and I'm like, what is about to await me this evening? I do not know what to expect.
Have some fun. You will not get one tear out of me tonight.
But yes, I'm finding his perspective interesting. I'm finding the retelling interesting. Again, I have not read Little Women. I know it's a failure on my part, but I feel like I'm getting a greater sense of the mother's personality in this one, which I don't know if we did in the first one, but like, she is definitely brought to life a lot more in this versus the movie. Yeah, I'd say it's a pleasant read. It's fine. It's interesting. I think it's interesting examining the Civil War. There's been some gruesome, like, bloody, I mean, you're at war. There's been some, like, scenes where I'm like, I will say, one of the most diabolical audiobooks I've ever seen is the audiobook is split into equal chapters of 1 hour and 8 minutes that don't correlate to the chapter. This book has chapters. I'm on chapter 8. Why are we doing audiobook chapters of 1 hour and 8 minutes of just like randomly splitting up the story? It's driving me insane. I don't like it. It just feels, it makes my skin crawl.
Evil.
But I feel like this second half might be more impactful. So I'll hopefully see you tonight with my thoughts. I'm just going to try and finish this now. And yeah, I will let you know how it goes. I have finished March and I'm giving this the rating that at this point in the year, I don't know what it's like at the end of the year, but at this point in the year, I'm giving every bloody book in the world, which is 3.5. I can see, if you've read Little Women, I can see there being two camps of people who find this a very interesting adaptation, a very interesting way of like taking the facts, the little facts we know about the father and readapting them, and I can see you thinking, this is like a bastardization of Little Women and I hate what you've done with it. And I think both are equally valid. I think it's interesting putting it in this context. Yes, you know that Little Women is taking place during the Civil War, but I mean, I haven't read the book, but again, in my memory of the film, I don't think like slavery and the Civil War is really like a big topic. They're kind of, the ladies are kind of removed from that. There's a distance between them and the war, a distance between them and those discussions. And I think it's interesting for that to be a bigger topic, a bigger thing to talk about. You know, if it takes place during that time, I think perhaps it is important to have those discussions. So I like that aspect of it. I can also see people feeling like, particularly the character of the mum is like really changed in ways that they don't like. And I can see like certain scenes, there's certain scenes that are obviously like from the book, like telling them from a different angle and putting really quite a different meaning on them, and I can see people going like, that, I don't want to read that. That like taints the memory of the book for me, or yeah, changes how I feel about it. So I kind of come down in the middle. I think it is very well written. I will say there are a lot of racist characters in this. You know, it's to do with the Civil War and slavery, and there's a lot of racist characters that you meet, and some of them do say the N-word. I'd say the N-word is maybe said like 10 to 20 times in this book, and it is a white author writing this. So I would just be aware of that if that's something that makes you uncomfortable. Yes, I guess it is trying to be realistic to the time period of what those people would have said, but also it does leave me feeling a bit uncomfortable. So there's that. It also has that element of retellings for me where I sometimes feel like the author is constrained by what happens in the original book, and they're kind of like, okay, I have these scenes to fit stuff in between and to provide context to, and they don't really, the character they create with the character we know, and like how they readapt them, where that character would then go, there's no room for them to go because the destination has always been determined, you know? So there's certain ways that I think the character that was created in this would actually make a different decision to what the characters make in Little Women, but that can't happen because they're constrained by it. So yeah, I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. I found it an interesting read, and I think that's our most successful one for this month vlog so far. So, you know, maybe on the up now. Maybe April. Who knows what we're going to do for April? I don't know. But yes, it was okay. It's kind of my prevailing feeling, and I think it maybe would have been a more interesting read had I read Little Women, but I could also see parts of it would have annoyed me had I read Little Women. So, there we go. Hello friends, please don't perceive me. I'm having one of those days where I do not want to do anything to make myself look more presentable. So just don't look at me. However, I do want to find out what April book we're going to be reading. It's April, I'm still here. Didn't think I would be. I think we're now going to be moving on the 2nd of June, touch wood. We'll see how that goes.
Can you check my depression level?
Shall we find out some books with April in the title? Let's see if we can find any. Let's go look on like a Goodreads list and a Storygraph list. This Reading the Month one on Storygraph has been very helpful. The Enchanted April, why does that ring a bell? That's a classic. 4 very different women looking to escape dreary London for the sunshine of Italy take up an offer advertised in the Times for a small medieval Italian castle on the shores of the Mediterranean to be let furnished for the month of April. Interesting. Oh, it's top on the Goodreads list. Okay, so maybe this is like one of the more well-known books that we could choose that has April in the title. 3.9 average rating. It's a classic. You know, I'm not averse to reading a classic as part of this. The Enchanted April Friends are giving it 3.54, 5, 4, 3. Okay, so we're like, okay, 5, 4, 3 territory. Something about that intrigues me. I love Italy. Italy's my favourite place to go on holiday. So that definitely intrigues me. Was a bestseller in both England and the United States. Was a Book of the Month club selection. That's interesting, back in the day. And set off a craze for tourism to Portofino. I'm kind of already leaning towards that. Let's see if there's any others. I can just like look at the covers of these and know whether I'm into them or not. 3 Days in April. Is that like a murder mystery book? Science fiction. No, I'm okay. Do you know what? I'm intrigued by this classic. I think I'm going to go for this classic. It's got like pretty good ratings. Light-hearted, hopeful, relaxing, reflective, funny, inspired. Okay. I'm going to go for this classic. I didn't think I'd be reading a classic. The Enchanted April. I'm going to go try and get my hands on it and then probably start the audio. I might get my hands on the audiobook and start that today. But I'm intrigued. I'm excited to read a book from 1922. Intriguing. Okay, so I have just finished The Enchanted April. I ended up just reading it digitally. I had the audiobook and the ebook on Everand, so I read them both on there. And this is a very delightful, easy breezy read. I'm giving it a 3.5 because I don't have many strong feelings about it, but I did enjoy my time with it. So basically, it is the story of these 4 women who go and stay in this villa in Italy together in April for a month, and the transformations that happen to them whilst they're there and the kind of journey that each of them go on while they're there. I will say I think it is quite short, and I do think that if this was a modern book, that those transformations would be more deeply explored, but they're kind of like on the surface. But really it's just about them having a lovely time in heaven, as they call it, in this villa in Italy. And I enjoyed my time with it. You know, it's from the 1920s and it was interesting. It did make me think of Agatha Christie, not at all in terms of like writing style or in terms of genre or like the pattern of the book, but like the characters spoke the same. The writing wasn't the same, but the language was the same, because like early Christie books are in 1920s, and so that was an interesting dynamic where I'm like, the writing, it's not the writing style, it's the way people talk that it's reminding me of Christie. So I liked that. The more you read it from an era, I think the more greater understanding you gain from an era, and you're like seeing it from slightly different angles. And it's just a nice book with these characters, spending time with these characters, and it's very slow, it's very small, it's very short. It's not like a grand classic, you know, it's not like a really hefty tome, but I had a nice time reading it. I don't think I have a ton to say about it though. It was funny though. It was funny. It's kind of got this like almost leaning dark sense of humour. Some of the things on these characters are obviously meant to be funny made me feel bad for them though. Like in a modern sense, there's certain behaviours that are excused, particularly from husbands.
You know what? You want me to go there with husband?
It's supposed to be funny, like, oh, of course they're like that. Oh, husbands, you know what I mean? But it made me feel bad for some of these characters. Like one of them, her husband is having affairs, and they kind of like, I can spoil it a bit, no one cares. They reunite, and the way they reunite is kind of like funny. But like, he's cheating on her. They've grown apart, they're living separate lives, but they're still married. So like, I guess, you know, they're kind of like in a modern sense separated. Like they go weeks without seeing each other. But like, he was sleeping with another woman. She doesn't know that, but she's like so happy to be back in love with him. And I'm just like, I feel kind of bad. I feel like someone needs to tell her what's going on. Yeah, I think if you're looking for a classic that is very easy to read, I would recommend this. I think it's an easy read. I think it's very easily digestible, very easy to get into. So if you're looking for something from that period, I would recommend it. It's not gonna, you know, blow your socks off. I don't think though. Oh, one thing I will say, it took me to halfway through the book to remember who the characters are, because they're all referred to by their last names. It's like Miss Fisher, Mrs. Fisher, Miss Arbuthnot, or whatever their names were. I think it must be something about my brain works. I struggle to like remember last names or remember who that is, right, than first names. First names, I think, were like more easily ingrained to like remember who that is or like identify the character. But I was just like, who the fuck is Mrs. Fisher? And I was getting them confused. I could not remember. And then occasionally, very occasionally, they'd get referred to by the first name. And I'm like, oh, God knows who that is. Because they're like, it's very occasionally. And I think that's just a different way of writing. But I did struggle with that for the first half, was remembering who each of the 4 women were, like which one was which. But yes, this was like a nice read, and it was, you know, enjoyable reading it when they talk a lot about April and the weather and like the blossom coming out, and like reading that in real time was fun. So I'm glad I read it in April. It was a fun reading experience. But yeah, nothing to write home about, but a nice time. Hello friends, it's quite late, but I have just finished May's book. So May was one of the months where I knew what book I wanted to read, because I knew of this book. But also next month, June, I know what I want to read. You may be able to predict that one because it's quite a well-known book. But the book I knew I wanted to read for May was The 22 Murders of Madison May by Max Barry. So I don't think this is super well-known, but I have heard of it because it's a really interesting speculative murder mystery where basically this is a book I struggle to remember what's a spoiler at the beginning and what you don't know. We open up with this young estate agent, Madison May, getting murdered, and we've got a local reporter, Felicity, who decides to investigate the case, but she quickly gets drawn into this world. Well, an alternate world. She goes to sleep, wakes up, she's in a different world. Madison May is alive again, but guess what? She's going to be murdered again. So it's kind of this cat and mouse game of Felicity and some people that she works with trying to like find the person that keeps murdering Madison May. And we also spend quite a lot of time going through all of Madison's different lives and like the different scenarios she finds herself in, because she finds herself in quite different scenarios each time, you know? Like there's different lives, when she's an actress, when she's an estate agent, when she's a weather girl, different relationships, different friendships in each of them. And I think objectively this is quite a good book. It's really ambitious, it's really trying to do something, it's such an interesting premise, and for the most part I feel like it completes that premise satisfactorily, but I just didn't really want to read it. I didn't want to pick it up. I had to force myself through it. So I think I'm going to give it a 3.5. The dreaded cast 3.5. It reminds me a lot of Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister, which I loved, where that's a woman who keeps going back in time to solve why her son murdered someone. And that is like peak speculative murder mystery. This, you know, interesting time travel element. This one, it's not necessarily time travel, it's alternate world travel. But I just kind of kept feeling like, oh, I feel like Wrong Place, Wrong Time has this interesting element, this, you know, supernatural element to it, but I was compelled by the story and the characters, whereas I could not give less of a shit about any of these characters, if I'm entirely honest with you.
Clap if you care. Clap if you care.
They all felt fairly like wooden. Very wooden to me, unfleshed out. There wasn't much to make me care about them. And even when Felicity's like entering this another life and she's mourning things she's lost, like she enters this different world, and instead of getting the 2 cats they only got 1 cat. Imagine if I walked home and like suddenly Dida had never existed. That is not a world I want to live in. That I would just go, peace out, you know what I mean? So like I should care, but I didn't really. I don't think the writing was bad. I think it was fine. I think this may be, like, when you read some reviews, they all say it's so action-y, so fast-paced, and I guess, but the stakes, I think the problem is I could see where this was going. I feel like it's only going to end one way. And so none of the stakes actually felt like they had actual stakes, you know what I mean, to me, because I could see where it was going. Also, there is another element, and it's quite far through, so I don't want to spoil anything in case you are interested in reading this, but there is this kind of like, there's this other element to do with this company or this organization that I feel like doesn't really go anywhere. I think the story would have been a lot stronger if that had been removed. But yeah, I think it was okay. I don't know, this is such a bad review.
I hope this show gets cancelled and never renewed.
It's okay, guys. It's okay. It's okay book. It's okay book. You know, I enjoyed it, but also I am inherently just much more picky with murder mysteries, you know? Murder mysteries, it takes a lot. It takes an army at the moment to make me enjoy them. And this just wasn't quite there. It wasn't quite there. So that's our May book. It was good. It was good. It's an objectively a good book. There was nothing that made me want to pick it up. And I think it ends up with, you can see where this is going to go. You can kind of like predict that the author is not going to let it end a certain way, and that ending a certain way is the only stakes that's driving it, and thus it's a bit boring. But the book's fine. It's okay. Okay, I'm gonna go read other stuff, and I'll come back to you once I've read June's book, which is a pretty hype book. So I'm excited to see what I think of it. Hello. It is a lovely day. And I have read the next month's book, 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. This is another one that I knew going into this, I'm going to read this book, because I feel like this is one of the best known books with a month in the title, with June in the title. I have finished it. I have thoughts. Do you know what are my thoughts? No. The synopsis of this is basically we're following two characters who had a really strong relationship, or like kind of week-long love affair when they were teenagers. It was very intense. It was very like equally amazing and traumatic for them. And really they're both still like hung up on each other, and they're both authors who are kind of like writing stuff inspired by that. And they meet back up like 15 years later, and it's like a second chance romance between them. I think I'm gonna give this 3.5 stars.
You're joking. Not another one? Oh, for God's sake, I can't stand this.
The dreaded cursed, evil, 3.5 stars. Firstly, it's a split timeline. And we all know how I feel about split timelines. I don't love split timelines. I didn't love the addition of it in this book. You obviously have split timelines between the present day. Dida, can you be polite? If you wonder why this chair looks like this, it's like, oh, okay, sure, you go there. Yeah, split timelines between the modern day and their relationship in the past. But I feel like everything that we learned about their relationship in the past could have been done through conversations, through them you're throwing me off. Gosh, the sound when she hits the floor. To them like remembering stuff and like thinking about maybe having like flashbacks but not whole chapters that are in the past timeline. And I just think every time a split timeline weakens a book. I hate them because I feel like it doesn't allow me to get... This wasn't 50-50, which is what I really hate, like when it's 50% past and present. This one is probably like 70-30, but I still feel like it took me out of it, and I just wanted to get back to the present timeline. That was what I was invested in. I was invested in whether they were going to make it in the present. So that, you know, that's a me thing. That's a me thing. I struggle with the tone of this because it is at points very, very serious. This is one of the more kind of literary, intense, like serious gravitas romances that I've read. It's kind of a literary romance, I would say. The writing is incredible, but in terms of subject matter, these characters have some shit in their background. Like, there's self-harm, there's alcoholism, our main girlie, Eva, there's a lot to do with her childhood and her mother and how she was treated and like how she's exploring that or wants to explore that in her present day. Like, there's a lot of heavy moments. But then also, this had some of like the cheesiest pop culture reference, language and references and like lighter moments, and I just found that a bit jarring. I think there's a lot of romances I think we read nowadays are basically about these two characters meeting who have some sort of baggage, who have some sort of trauma, and them like figuring out together. But you know, someone like Abby Jimenez, for example, I feel like does a better job of keeping those on a similar level so it's not jarring. I found the tonal shifts in this a little bit tricky to navigate, a little bit like, oh, like, oh, we're going from one thing to the other, you know? Like, the writing was almost too good. And it's more of a literary romance, but it was doing some of that cheesy, like, pop culture. You know how people in romances talk? Every romance has a bit of this. But, like, yeah, just it was jarring to me. I think the writing is incredible. I would definitely read from Tia Williams again. I think, what's the one where it's, like, Ricky... It's like a music romance. Like, I'd be interested in that. I think her writing is impeccable. But just in terms of, like, this story, I feel like it had individual factors that aren't my thing. Like, some people might not mind those tonal shifts, and some people might not mind split timelines, but I do. Therein lies the problem. I will say also, this has one of the best representations of, like, a chronic illness, a disability, that I have read in a long, long time. Eva has like pain issues and like flare-ups, and I just thought the way that was written was handled really well. So there's a lot that's great about this, but in terms of my enjoyment, that split timeline and the tonal shifts really prevented me from enjoying it. I think I'm right now going to find out what we're going to read for July, because I have a lot of reading to do, so I want to find out what we're doing right this second. So let me go get my laptop. Okay, let's just search for July, I guess, in Goodreads and see what comes up. Oh, we need to sort it by title. Are there any big books with July in them? 4th of July by James Patterson, But, I mean, it's long. It's 416 pages. I'm going to be honest with you guys, I need a quick book. Life at the moment, and how much reading I got to do at the moment, I need a quick read. I need something I can, like, read in the next couple of days once July. It's right at the end of June right now. So maybe I can do this at the start of July. 4th of July, Creek until July. July's people. I'm not seeing anything. You know what? I feel like at some point I need to read one of these Calendar Girl books.
That is insane behavior. That is quite literally loony bin.
Hip hop, Miami Heat, and Latin Lover. Because it's only 100 pages. It's only 100 pages. Do you know what? I fear I'm going to read July by Audrey Carlin. Calendar Girl number 7. This kind of series, I assume you can kind of just dip in. Like, they will tell me what's going on. You know what? I just think I'm just gonna do it. I need a quick read. It's 100 pages. And then we can get on with some other, like, you know, more exciting, hyped books. But let's read a Calendar Girl book. 4.03 average rating. I mean, even the first one has a 3.83. That's not bad. Let's do it. Let's give Calendar Girl a go. Okay, I'll let you know my thoughts probably soon once I've read it. That was certainly a book I just read that had July in the title. Yeah, I don't know what to say. So, yeah, I read July, Calendar Girls number 7. It did do a good job of rooting me in the story and, like, I could understand everything that was going on. This is, like, an erotic novella series where she's in a different situation. She's an escort. And she's in a different kind of situation, got a different job every single month. And we are following in the one I'm reading, or I read in July. She was on a set of a music video. She was had to be like the vixen in a music video. I'm going to bring you in a little bit closer. And it's about the kind of romances that she's having throughout the series. There's a few different options. You know, I'd read stuff like this before. It reminded me of a lot of I've read more thrillery versions of it. I read, obviously, the one in March? I don't know. That other one I read ages ago. I can't remember now. And I read one for winners of the Goodreads Choice Awards for Mystery Thriller. It was like the 30th book in a series I read, but like very similar style, where it's these short books where you're following a character over a long period of time, yada, yada, yada. Okay, here's the thing. I'm gonna give it 2 stars. It's not a 1, because I think it's not the worst example of what it is. And I feel like I have to some extent judge a book based on what it's trying to do versus my enjoyment. And like, I never read this kind of thing. I'm not an erotica girly. I don't read this kind of fiction where it's like kind of Sex and the City in a book, I feel like. I feel like that's the vibe. Sex and the City in a book. Not that I've watched Sex and the City, but like girlies yapping, some sex, like a fun plot, everyone's having fun. I hated, can't tell you viscerally how much I hated the like sexual words used in this. The worst things I've ever experienced. Love button. He pressed against my love button.
It's disgusting to me.
That's not even the most egregious. I fear I've wiped some of the worst ones from my brain. And I don't like them calling a vagina her sex. Like, in a sex scene, like, he did this to my sex. I don't like that. I don't like that. It just felt like I think this was written in 2015. It felt like quite outdated terminology in that regard. I mean, I read it in a day. It was what I needed in the moment right now. It was fine. It wasn't good, but I think it could have been worse. I don't think I am not well equipped to review something like this. So I'm just going to say I read it. You don't need to hear about it any longer. Let's get into some actual books that I'm excited to read. Hello. I have to make a confession. I've lost progress with this video. Basically what I think happened was, obviously we lost the move of the first flat. I'm now very happy because I'm moving in January and I know that now. But we lost the move of the first flat, I think in like June or July. And then I kind of pushed through a little bit with this video, but I suddenly just became really sad because the whole point of this video, what I wanted from this video to be by the end of the year was like, my life changing over the year. That was kind of the purpose, like a little video diary of my life changing with the move and all of that and all the kind of new avenues that will bring, and obviously that didn't happen. And so I think I just kind of stopped doing this video because I was so sad about that, if I'm honest. But I don't want this video to go to waste because I have done 7 months of the year. And so this week in December, I'm gonna finish it off. We're gonna read August, September, October, November, December this week. I hope that's okay. It's what happened. Yeah, I just got sad. I just got sad about my life not, you know, it not being in new locations, or like that's what this video is supposed to be. So now I want to do a video next year throughout the whole year, but I don't know what it should be. If you have any ideas, a little vlog project throughout the whole year, let me know. So I don't know if I told you these, if I picked this one out in particular, the August one, on camera, but I know what I'm reading for August and September. I'm gonna read for August the first 15 lives of Harry August, which I feel like is a pretty well-known book. I don't actually know what it's about. I thought it was like a mystery, but I don't think it is. I don't really know. I think it's this man who lives, he wakes up and he's living the same life again and again. But we shall see. And then I'm for September reading The September House, which was like a horror that was pretty popular a couple of years ago on BookTube, I want to say. So this is what first came to mind when I thought of September. So we're reading these two. So shall we pick out October, November, December? Now I will say I am not above some short books.
Well, guess what, people? I get excited about small things.
Because obviously I've got to read all these books in a week. I'm actually surprised. This is like a little reflection near the end of the video. Well, this won't need to be the end of the video, but I feel like because it's the end of the week and the end of the year it is. I'm surprised how little books there are with months in the title. Like in my mind, I thought of so many, like the January one. What is that called? 10,000 something of Doors of January? Or I thought of 6 Days in June, or I thought of like there's loads of December. We're gonna find a romance book, like a little Christmassy romance for December, aren't we? Let's be honest with ourselves. That's what that's gonna end up being. I'm surprised how little there's been for like other months. Night in the Lonesome October, The October Horse. None of these are... None of these are grabbing me. The October Country by Ray Bradbury seems to be... I mean, Ray Bradbury's pretty well known, right? But how long is this? Short story collection? I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. I don't think I want to read. What is A Night in the Lonesome October? What is this? Oh, this sounds kind of interesting. Seems kind of spooky, like the kind of thing I should have been reading in October. What is this review? Just what kind of review is that? I'm interested in this. This has grabbed my attention. So I might do this, Bewitching a Supernatural Romp. Sure, why not? Let's go for that, if I can get my hands on it. Now we need a November book. Let's have a look again at this story graph. Oh, volume 1. I feel like that's going to be a graphic novel. I mean, oh, it's got a 3.13 average rating. But it's a graphic novel. But I'm kind of just like, a graphic novel seems like what I need right now. Honest with you, we got a lot of books to read. Joe, and we haven't had a graphic novel, I don't think, in this video. I'm going to do it. I don't care that it's lowly rated. I'm going to go for a graphic novel. Let's have a look at this person's December list. I want a romance. Once Upon a December to Remember, Always in December, One Day in December. That's the one I thought of going into this. So we're going to go with One Day in December. A little Christmassy romance. Okay, I love to see it. Okay, those are going to be our books then for October, November. The November one I'm not sure about. I may have a look around for that one because it is quite lowly rated. I'm gonna go get reading. I'm gonna go read the first 15 lives of Harry August. I'll let you know my thoughts when I've finished. But I'm intrigued by this one because it's a book I've heard a lot of good things about, particularly like years and years ago, like probably 5 years ago. When did this come out? Like 2016, I feel like 2014. Yeah, so I heard about this a long time ago, but I'm still excited to see what I think of it. If you watch my most recent video, the Goodreads Choice Awards video, you'll know suddenly the DNF floodgates have opened. I don't know what is going on. I am DNFing the first 15 lives of Harry August, which I'm sad about. I made it basically halfway through. I got 180 pages through, so I read a fair chunk of this. I just got to a point where I did not understand what was going on at all. I was not following, I was not computing, the story was not interesting me.
I'm nodding like I understand, but I'm not so sure I do.
So basically, we're following Harry August, who lives the same life over and over again. Or at least he lives lives over and over again, but they start the same, but obviously he has free will to kind of like change the course of his life. But yeah, he is living life over and over again, and we are following those lives, but in a very all over the place manner. Like, he's like, this happened in my 6th life, or this happened in my 3rd life. I was losing track by the end of what was happening in what life, and I felt like we were jumping. That's really why I DNF'd. I felt like we were jumping from a life to a life, and I wasn't realising that we changed lives or something. I think this is an interesting book. I think it has a lot of promise. I can understand why people love it. I've heard so many good things about this throughout the years, but it just wasn't engaging me. And I will say there's a lot of thoughts up here at the moment. It's the end of year, we're moving, finally, and I'm thinking about that a lot. Like, I think I need easier reads. I need easy reads. That's what I'm going to be striving for with the last 4 books of this video. And this is not an easy read. This is quite an in-depth, heavy read. So I think perhaps it just wasn't the right thing for me right now. I also think it's very voicey. The main character, we're reading from his perspective, and he's got like a strong voice and strong opinions, and I just wasn't fond really of his storytelling style. I just wasn't vibing with it. I wasn't vibing with him. I wasn't enjoying what he was putting down. I think it's an interesting idea, and I've heard that in the second half it kind of like goes off in a direction that's very fun, but I feel I was too disengaged to enjoy it and to care. This does feel like the kind of book to me that would have been like revolutionary in 2014, but now a decade on, we've kind of been there, done that. You know, it reminds me of like Gone Girl. I enjoyed Gone Girl, but I was like, you are obviously the revolutionary of this type of thing, but I've now read that type of thing so many times that this isn't now the revolutionary book it once was in terms of a reading experience. So anyways, let's read The September House, which is our next book. It's a haunted house book, which I enjoy a haunted house book, but I actually want a book, if it's marketed as a haunted house book, to be a haunted house book. I don't want lies, I don't want deceit, I want a haunted house book. So that's what I'm hoping I'm gonna get. Hopefully it'll be a quick read. I'll check in with you once I'm finished. Hello, how are we all doing? I have finished The September House by Carissa Orlando. I think I'm gonna give this 3 stars. I was really hoping this would be like a really strong one. The vlog, it's not going well. This isn't going well. No, here's the thing. I think there's a lot of good things about this book, but I didn't have a great time reading it. I found it quite boring. So basically, this is a haunted house book. We are following Margaret. She moved into this house with her husband Hal, but Hal has seemingly left recently. And she has left in the house, and her daughter is coming to like figure out like, where the fuck is my dad gone? Like, why didn't you tell me that he's gone? What is going on? What is the truth? And it is haunted. There are ghosts all around that Margaret is having to deal with, some nicer than others.
Spooky, ooky, kooky, and creepy.
It very much reminds me, I want to know if the author was inspired by Murder House, American Horror Story Murder House, because there's a lot of characters that remind me of characters in Murder House, and the layout reminds me of Murder House. It just feels very Murder House to me. I don't think this is a bad book. I think it's a pretty solid haunted house book, and I enjoyed the themes, which I'll get onto in a sec. But I found it quite repetitive in its nature of its scenes, in its things that were being discussed, and there's a few moments where I think that is intentional, and I think in those moments it was really well done, but I just didn't feel like this book had enough variety in what was happening and what was going on. The themes in this is a mild spoiler, but the themes in this are very much about like domestic abuse and the trail of destruction that leaves and the effect on a person that leaves, and I thought it was a very interesting portrayal of that, and a portrayal in a way I haven't really seen before, and a portrayal like of not necessarily being in the moment with domestic abuse, but like how that can impact you 30 years on. I thought it was saying some really interesting things about that. And so I've come to the conclusion that I think this could have been like a 5-star short story or novella for me. Like, I enjoyed the writing, I enjoyed the characters enough that if it was a short story or novella, I would feel like they were fleshed out enough. In this, I didn't. And I enjoyed the themes, and I enjoyed how those themes were explored, but in terms of just the plot, it felt like we were circling around the drain a bit, or like we were repeating the same moves again and again and again. It felt like we were going through the motions again and again on the same kind of storyline. So yeah, I think this could be such a strong novella or short story, but as a novel, I was bored. I was really, really bored, I gotta say. I gotta be honest with you. I just think the pacing is a bit off. It felt a bit slow. I'm not sure. I think we needed more denouement moments, like more peaks and troughs. It felt like we were kind of static throughout the whole thing. This took me ages to read as well, which is because I have a lot of books to read. I'm hoping I can make good progress in our October book tonight, so I'll either see you tonight or in the morning with thoughts on that, because I think it is pretty short. I'm actually excited for that one. I think it's kind of like a gothic-y, but maybe a bit campy, spooky book. So I'm excited to see what I think of this. But yeah, this just wasn't all that I wanted it to be. Good evening, friends. Our October book is finished. A night in the lonesome October. A lonesome night in October. I can't remember what the title is. I finished this. I enjoyed this. This is a very interesting book. So we are reading from a dog's perspective in this book, which is very, very fun. We are reading from Snuff, who is Jack the Ripper's dog. He's Jack the Ripper's dog, and we're in this town, I think it's kind of outside of London, near London, where all these characters from classic, you know, Victorian horror, Victorian literature, mystery are all converging. So Sherlock and Watson are in this. Their cameos are very fun. They've got very brief cameos. They're not part of the game, which we're getting into. They're kind of like observing the game. But anyways, there's like Wolfman, Jack the Ripper, like I said, Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster. All these characters are converging on this town to like play a game that it seems they play periodically, and you're always not sure what the game is. You are thrown into this book. You are chucked in, and there is no explanation. There is no like synopsis of what was going on. You are just thrown in, and the characters are having conversations that like carry on from what they said to each other yesterday. You just don't know what they said to each other yesterday. And you guys know I love books that pay homage to like literature and have cameos from other characters. Like, you know, I love The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter so much, as many of you all know. One of my favourite series of all time. So I found this very, very fun. And reading from a dog's perspective as well is so fun. And all of the characters have like animal familiars. So one has a cat, one has a bat, one has a snake that we kind of meet, and they interact with the book, and they're trying to figure stuff out for their owners. I had a fun time with it. I think it's well written. However, did I understand what was going on at all times? No. No. There's this like review I saw, I'll try and put it in. I can't remember exactly what it said, but it's like, this author is a genius, but I fear most of it is drug fueled. Like, it is kind of crazy, especially the end, which is like the culmination of the game. I'm not entirely sure what happened there. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm gonna give this 4 stars. I had a lot of fun with it. It is a bit of a crazy time, but I thought it was very imaginative. It was a short book, but again, as you guys know, I've been saying this a lot, like how I love books where a lot has been poured into them. I feel like this book is almost like the 8th draft of the book that this guy had written, Roger, I can't remember his last name, like the 8th draft, but he'd like rewritten the entire book every time, so he had like a great understanding of the whole world building. Like there was a lot of depth to what was going on. You just didn't necessarily get to see all the depth, but you knew it was there, which is a very interesting, you know, writing decision that I enjoyed. I had fun with. Like, Sherlock and Watson were my icon. Sherlock kept like dressing up as like old women to talk to people about gardening. It was quite fun. Yeah, I would recommend this. I think this is a great, if you're looking for like next October, a spooky book that, you know, is referential to the horror genre, I would really recommend picking this up because I just think it's a fun time. It's not very long. I think the audiobook is about 7 hours. There's a lot packed into those 7 hours, but at the same time, nothing at all. Nothing at all. It's a very interesting book. I'm now going to be reading different books for November and December than I was planning. I can't even remember what I said I was going to read in November. I haven't edited that clip yet. I'm going to read a Moomin book by Tove Jansson for November. I don't even know what this is. I'm going to pick it up. I've never read anything by Tove Jansson, never read anything Moomin, but let's give it a go. And then I was going to read One Day in December for December. I've bought it. I've now just given it to my mum to read. It was like £5. I bought that, but then I had reading sprints, my patrons, where they all told me it's mid. And I went, oh. Oh, that was going to be probably like my last or second to last book of the year, and I didn't want it to have those vibes. So then they recommended to me My Darling December, I think it's called, by Lauren Asher, which they said is good. So I'm going to pick that up. I'm going to pick that up instead. So this vlog hasn't been the most successful, as you now watching this know. I don't think I really understood till editing it how mid I found a lot of the books. I kind of just want to get this video done, if I'm honest with you. Also, I just want to start thinking about move stuff, to be honest with you. I'm kind of done with 2025. 2025, I'm shutting the doors down for 2025 now in my brain. So this is going to be the last reading I do, really, for the year. I have one book club book to read over Christmas for my in-person book club, but this is the last vlog I'm doing. So let's get it done, shall we? I don't think this clip is going to been very long. I just read Moomin Valley in November by Tove Jansson. This is a book about Moomins. I don't really know much about Moomins, but actually it's not about Moomins because the Moomins aren't here. The Moomins have gone.
Hell yeah, where's this bitch? Where is she? She's scared. Honking if you out there and you hear me. Girl, I'm waiting on you.
The Moomin family decide to go away, I think, for November. And there's all these sad other creatures who are like at the start of November, like, I'm so sad. You know what will fix this? Moomins. The Moomin Mama. I can't tell you how many times I heard Moomin Mama. I love that. Moomin Mama. Moomin Mama. It sounds like something I'd call a cat. You know, they all think Moomin Mama's gonna fix it, but like they turn up and Moomin Mama ain't there, Moomin Papa ain't there. Where are Moomin Mama and Moomin Papa? So yeah, it's like the story of themselves having to find happiness and figure out their shit within themselves. I don't think I'm gonna have a lot to say about this. I'll give it 3 stars, I guess. I think it was nice. It's a children's book, you know, and I feel like entering the whole Moomin world and Moomin ideology and Moomin ethos without any context. There were moments where I was like, what is going on? I am not pre-exposed to the vibe, and this book I think assumes I am pre-exposed to the vibe. I'm not passing the vibe check. So yeah, there were moments where I didn't understand what was going on. It was a 3-hour audiobook. I read a book with November in the title. I read it. There were some nice creatures. There was a moment, I'll spoil it a bit. There's like Grandpa Grump or something. Grumpy Grandpa, one of the characters, I can't remember what he's called. He has a character called the what's it called? I finished this 2 seconds ago. The Ancestor. Grandpa Grumble is like besties with the Ancestor. Plot reveal at the end, it was him in a mirror. The Ancestor was in a mirror. Tove Jansson, that's a little good plot twist in a book. But yeah, I mean, that's all I have to say. 3 stars. It was fine. I listened to it. I read a book with November in the title. Let's go into My Darling December. My December Darling. I think it's My December Darling, actually. I think I keep getting them mixed up. So, I'm sorry about how this video has ended because I am DNFing. Is it My December Darling? Yes, My December Darling. I'm afraid I am DNFing it. I think I got about halfway through. I just wasn't feeling it. I don't think Lauren Asher is going to be one of my romance girlies. This is a romance where our main character, her ex-boyfriend is getting married to her sister, but they were never like that serious. They never kissed, I don't think, which is kind of crazy, but they dated. They're getting married, and his best friend, she starts falling for, but it's like a bit forbidden, will they, won't they kind of thing. And this is a novella, and it was just flying by. It was flying by, but not in a good way. I felt like it was so rushed and so, yeah, lacking detail, lacking growth for the characters, lacking anything that made me feel invested in them, that I just don't want to read it. I don't want to read it, I'm afraid. That's not a very fun ending to this vlog. I'm very particular with the romances I enjoy. Like I say, I have like a select group of romance girlies, and I do want to add to that. I do want to grow the circle a little bit, but I fear Lauren Asher won't be part of it. Because yeah, I mean, it could just be that it was a novella, and I just feel like it needed a lot more time, but it just felt so rushed, and it wasn't Christmassy. It wasn't, the cover is a gingerbread house, and it wasn't Christmassy. Are you kidding me? So yeah, I'm done. I'm sorry. There we go. The vlog is over, guys. The vlog is done. I hope you enjoyed this time through the year with me, but also only through like to July, and then the rest we finish at the end. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you've read any of these books. I already have an idea for what I could do for this vlog in January or next year. I like a kind of this kind of idea. I have an idea. So let me know if you'd be interested in that. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye, friends.